So just like last time where I talked about some of the anime that I've been planning to watch throughout this next year or so, I had the idea, instead of talking about the anime I'm going to be watching throughout this next year, why not talk about some of the manga I'll be reading to come along with it. So that's exactly why we're here. And just to preface this beforehand, because I think people were quite confused last time, that these series that I plan to watch and or read aren't quite literally the only series I plan to watch and or read. However, they are the series I do plan to most likely make a video on here in the near future. So as it is for the anime, and same goes for the manga that I'll be talking about in this video, there are a few series in this batch that genuinely might take a while, but they're definitely all series I would love to make a video on once I either catch up to their respected chapter and or up until the full completion of their series. And as for the manga I've been reading this year, I think it's just definitely been more predominant that I've been reading a lot more than just watching anime. To name a few though that I haven't made videos on for just quite yet are some like Dr. Stone, which a video on that will be coming out soon, Goodnight Pun Pun, which I don't think I'll be making a video on anytime soon because I just don't think I could give proper justice to the series, Dan Dan, which is a really underrated gem that's still fairly new, but I do plan on making a video on it in the near future, as well as many others. But I know for sure when it comes to these manga that I'm going to be talking about, not only will I probably enjoy each and every single one of them, but will you all as well, considering some of them are the most highly anticipated manga for myself to talk about on the channel. But by all means though, don't feel discouraged to keep recommending me any anime and or manga, and hell even manhwa for that matter, because who knows what series I'll decide to check out one of these days and potentially make a video on. It's kind of like a wild card sometimes when it comes to these things I haven't read. So as it is, I'm kind of exploring and just trying out new things as of right now, but for the time being, these are the series from the catalog of all the manga I plan to read. Starting things off though, we have d.gray-man. Now, d.gray-man is a manga that I personally feel like both falls into the category of something that I don't hear about as much when it comes to the variety of manga in the shonen demographic, but anytime I do hear about it, it's almost always praised upon for being one of the best shonen manga out there. And this is probably the series I'm gonna start first out of everything on this list, so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a d.gray-man video here on the channel sooner than later. But from what I've heard about the series, it's almost virtually nothing other than one thing that happens way later on in the manga that may or may not be a big spoiler, I'm not really sure. Other than that though, I know the main character's name is Alan Walker and that's pretty much it, but for what it's worth though, the art style looks amazing and right off the bat, I just get so many Halloween Town vibes from the Nightmare Before Christmas type of feel. It just feels like it's leaning towards that whole aesthetic of it, and honestly, that's not something I'd push away. So I'll be for sure looking into the series and seeing what's it all about. Next up though, we have One Punch Man, and it actually kind of surprises me that I've never picked up this manga. I mean, I've watched both seasons of the anime and I always thought it was a great series to check out sooner or later, but I guess I just never got around to it, which also shocks me considering the one who draws the series, Yusuke Murata, is probably one of my favorite manga artists out there. I mean, the guy can literally take a doodle from one of one's panels and turn it into the most phenomenal image you have laid eyes on. Anyways though, it's really just a manga series that I've slacked on for a while now, and I think from a viewer of the anime's perspective, it's just an average series until you pick up the manga and start to really indulge yourself both into the story and the artwork. So it's definitely on my list for things I plan to read, and most likely when I catch up to the manga, a video will be coming on it sooner or later down the line. Now, this next series is definitely a tricky one because I've been thinking about going about approaching this series in so many different ways. Hajime no Ippo, the Goliath of manga, like when people tell me One Piece is long, I just tell them to go look at Ippo because man, the series nearly has like what, 300 plus more chapters than One Piece, so it's for sure nothing short. But I've been thinking if I wanted to go into this series by possibly watching the anime first, then picking up the manga, because from what I've heard from both friends and just people around the anime community, it's genuinely just both pretty good things. I mean, the anime is really good and it does a great job at capturing the scenery of, I guess, Hajime no Ippo and the whole aesthetic of boxing, and as well as the manga of course, because that is the original source of the series. But I'm not too sure. Let me know what you think in the comment section below though, if I should start the anime and or the manga first. But again, it is a manga I know for very little considering of the length of this series. It's just been a manga that I've heard amazing things from, considerably being one of the greatest, if not the greatest sports manga. So it's for sure something I'm going to be reading on this list, probably not anytime soon, but when I do get to it, I do for sure want to make a video on it sometime later down the line, probably later next year. Moving on though, I think we have an obvious one. We have Steel Ball Run from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I decided to include this because I think for what it's worth, this is probably the most talked about part and just quote unquote critically acclaimed best part in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. And for those of you who don't know, I both watched and read parts 1 through 6. So honestly, again, it's just something I haven't got to just yet. And I know because it's like quote unquote the best part. But I know earlier in the year, I plan on doing like a live stream on just reading it because I know a lot of people love seeing people's reactions to part 7. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. But when talking about just JoJo in general, the series as it is has already managed to make its way into my top 10. And with that being said, with a lot of people's favorite parts being both parts 7 and 8, it makes me wonder how far JoJo's can go up on my list. Not to mention, but it just kind of feels unreal how much people praise part 7, and that's not to diss the part or anything. By all means, that makes me all the more hyped, but I just feel like my expectations are so high that this has to be at least a 9 out of 10 part, with little to no misses. But yeah, it's for sure on the plan to read list, and I can't wait to see what I'm in for. And finally, we have none other than Takehiko Inoue's Vagabond. Now, for a while, I planned on reading this manga directly after I caught up with Berserk and Goodnight Punpun way earlier this year. I honestly don't know why though. I think I was just on a train of reading seinen manga. But Vagabond has been a series I've been eager to check out just due to the fact that it's a pretty highly praised series, even with it being on an indefinite hiatus. But regardless of that though, the artwork by Inoue himself is honestly, again, just like Muratas, some of the best out there. I think the way Inoue can compose his artistic style from less of a pen-drawn style to more of a brush scale is really aesthetically pleasing and makes things come to life a whole lot more than any ordinary pen-drawn style from any ordinary manga, I guess. Not only just that though, it's been a while since I've wrapped myself around a samurai and or swordsman-centric story, so out of everything on here, it's definitely more on the higher echelons of something I've been looking to read for quite a while now. On top of that though, if there happens to be any other anime and or manga you would like to see me watch and or read, let me know down in the comment section below. But for the time being, these have all been all the manga I plan to read. But with that, everyone, I think that about wraps things up. This has been Augie. As always, make sure if you enjoyed the video to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, if you're new here and or if you've just been a long time viewer of the channel, let me know what manga you plan to read here in the near future. And don't forget to turn on the bell notifications, that way you never miss out on another one of your favorite anime and or manga videos. We also have a Discord in the link in the description box down below if any of you would like to join. And with that, everyone, my Twitter is @AnimeAugie, and I'll make sure to catch each and every single one of you guys in the next video.